Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol nהיה b'dvaro. The most famous episode, of course, in the Bible, I think, one of the most famous episodes in the Bible, there is no most important, is the freedom, the going out of Egypt, breaking the chains of slavery of the Jewish people that to this day serve as a life motif, as a principle very important for all humanity. In Hebrew, there are three words for freedom, and I want to delve on them. One is called chofish, freedom. Another one is called dror, which is also freedom. And finally, the one that is called cherut, which is also freedom. Okay, for instance, the word dror, by the way, is inscribed in the Liberty Bell that is in Philadelphia. It is a pasuk, it is a verse, it's a verse from the Torah. It says, Ukratem dror, and you are going to call out freedom. That is engraved in that bell. So that it's a very important concept. Well, our ancestors were enslaved. So what happened to them? They went out into chofish, into freedom. You no longer have to work. That's it. You no longer have to work. So that kind of freedom is freedom from something else. You were freed from slavery. The other concept that I want to emphasize today is dror. Dror means that in the 50th year, according to Jewish tradition, all lands went back to their original owners. That was the Jubilee year to be free of any kind of previous commitments. In other words, it's not only freedom now from work, there's also freedom from any kind of impositions that you had in the past. Now you're totally free. Dror is something like totally free. And what is cherut? Cherut maybe is a different kind of freedom. Cherut means you are free from what you did before, but you have to do something else. In other words, it's not total freedom that now you can do whatever you want. No, you have to have a purpose. The 10 Commandments were engraved on stone. That word engraved is charut, spelled in Hebrew the same as cherut. In other words, cherut means I am free from something else, but I'm free to do something different. In other words, Erich Fromm, for instance, in his very famous book, Escape from Freedom, he says two things. There's one thing is escape from something, and another thing is escape to. In other words, I am free from slavery, but I'm also free to do something else. In other words, freedom to do whatever you want really doesn't exist in this world. If you're in chains, of course, you must do what you are told. But once those chains are broken, what are you going to do? So cherut means that you are free now to choose some goal in life. So I tell you, you feel many a time that work doesn't allow you to do many things. But okay, let's say you're not working anymore, as in my case. So what am I going to do with myself? I have to be free to do something else different. In other words, when our ancestors went out of Egypt, on the one hand, the chains were broken, but the chains were broken to do something different in the future as well. So bear in mind that opportunities in life exist at all times. Don't just sit with your hands crossed and finally I am free. You retired. You're 65, you're retired from work. So what are you going to do now? Well, many people, for instance, become volunteers for hospitals. Many people start with hobbies that they couldn't develop before. They get new goals in life. Remember that a life without a goal, just freedom from any kind of obligation, of any duties, doesn't lead to anything. You must have some kind of goal in the future as well. I remember speaking to a friend in Venezuela who had 2 sons, and I have 3 sons, but his 2 sons were a little older than my son, so that his youngest was a little older than my oldest. So at one time, His two sons were married already, and my sons were not. So I told him, you know, you already did your job. Now your sons are independent and you are free from any kind of responsibility. On the other hand, I still have three sons that I have to look after. He says, Rabbi, you will learn that after your sons are married, they still need you. There is no such thing as they are married and now I am free from any responsibility. The responsibility becomes different. And so is in life. You know, when a situation changes, it doesn't mean that you lose all kind of reason to get up in the mornings. You know, you have to make sure that when you retire or at any time that you have a certain purpose in life, and it is not freedom from something, it is free in order to accomplish new things in this world.